At this time, 7:34, I'm gonna open a public meeting for the Coffee Girl.
Yeah, I can just make a few comments on
That would be
that
great.
if you want. So it's our intention to lease space in the hospital to Coffee Girl. We have a couple different locations that we're looking at right now. One is 140 square feet, the other is 200 square feet. Leaning towards the one that's 200 square feet. The lease amount per month will be $250. Both locations are on the first floor in a high traffic area for staff and visitors. We're doing this as an additional amenity for staff, and it's kind of just one measure that we're looking at to kind of reach our goal of retention of staff. So I haven't heard any comments from the public about this. I don't know if anyone else has, but
Yes, I've seen no public besides administration and staff. Have you heard anything? No? No? Well, then we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Excuse me, could I have one answer? You mentioned two places. I know of one. Where's the other one?
Oh,
I'd rather not say at this
Okay.
point, just because it will affect some
Okay, sorry.
things that I'd
Trickle
rather
down.
have conversations with people about that before.
Okay, sorry.
all right, I'll call for the motion.
Sorry, what's the length of the lease?
We're looking at 6 months to start with, and then it would renew every year. We just renew every year to year at that point. That's what we're proposing, but the lease hasn't been finalized, or we're still working with Carrie on that.
Any other comments or concerns?
I move to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Is this a roll call or just aye? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. We have some educationals this morning from, looks like Tina's gonna start.
Good morning. I'm Tina Holdsworth. I'm the Director of Community Health. But just today, we're going to actually just talk about home health and hospice. Community Health is located just south of the Dairy Queen. So for some of you, it's the old Iowa Western building or the old chicken hut. So if everyone wants to know, you're more than welcome to come. In that building, there's 22 staff members. We house home health, hospice, public health, occupational health, learning for life, and then our homemaker program. So here's our home health team. Just all of our nurses and clerical staff, so there we are. So home health, we're going to start with them. So our home health staff is Sharon Zimmerman, Amelia Miller, Jennifer Bradley, and Dr. Brian Anderson is our medical director. Hospice is going to be Dawn Klein, Rihanna or Annie Martin. Mary Beth Barak is going to start in a couple weeks with us. Diane Book is an on-call nurse. Kathy Jensen, our social worker, and Dr. Brelji is our medical director. Our shared staff. So Julie Harriman and Bets Jones, they're actually shared between all three: public health, home health, and hospice. Where Ann Scheckinger, Diane Fremel, Janelle Kinkel, and Alejandra Flores are shared between home health and hospice. So, hospice, how do you qualify? We actually have to have a doctor's order for this. They have to have an illness with a life expectancy less than 6 months. It doesn't mean at 6 months that they might live longer, and we're more than happy to serve the family as long as we can. We just had a recent member that made it almost 1 year, so all they have to do is show a decline and documentation to show that, so it's perfect. Our great thing of our hospice is their family doctor provides care throughout the whole transition of the end of life, so we like that. We can provide care in the own home, the nursing home, or here at the hospital. We actually have contracts with several area hospitals also if we have to go there. Most insurances cover us, and then there's a nurse available 24/7. Home health, kind of the same thing. We have to have an order for skilled nursing and our therapy. So we team up with Rehab Vision. So we have physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech. Our radius is 30 miles of Harlan. We provide intermittent services. So we're not going to be for home health there for forever. We have a few private pay people that pay for bathing assistance. And so then with bathing, the nurse goes in every 60 days. But we're there usually a couple weeks to a couple months, and then we're gone. There's a nurse available 24/7 there also. Questions?
I've experienced the services, not myself personally, but very nice, very nice.
There's always someone around, so
Yeah.
it's great. So
Yes, yeah.
It's a good building to go to get a COVID shot.
absolutely. COVID flu, we still have some, so if you know anyone, we're down there. So perfect. If you ever want to stop down for a tour, we're always there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. If you need an after hours, there's always someone there. You just knock on the door. So,
Okay.
but thank you guys for letting us. I mean, the new cars for advertisements have been perfect, so
Very nice.
people can see us out and about. So thank you for supporting us and letting us take care of our people in the community.
Great. Thank you, Tina.
Thanks.
Nice summary.
Brian? Materials management.
Good morning. My name is Brian Bauerkamper. I'm the director from the Materials Department here. Just a little bit who we are, what we're doing, what we're working on and continuing to focus on today. So just a picture of our department. We're a small department. Myself, Christina Jacobson, is our purchasing agent. She does a lot of the just regular PO purchase orders we place, as well as help make deliveries around the building. And then we have Lucas Bruck. He's a part-time employee. He handles about all of our receiving, checks the items in, makes sure it gets delivered around the building wherever everything needs to go, helps to restock the different departments. We purchase for all the departments throughout the hospital, as well as our public health, community health, our satellite clinics, wellness center, PT, behavioral health. So we do the ordering for about everybody, stock, non-stock orders, special capital equipment, leases, service agreements, so just a few of the different types of POs that we do. In the storeroom, we have about 800 items that we manage down there, about a $65,000 value. The requisitions, when the end users put in the orders through the system, since the beginning of 22, we've processed over 6,000 of those. Also help maintain the OR inventory. So last report, I think they had around 2,400, 2,500 items down there. 1.5 million value. Daily we get deliveries come in from UPS, FedEx, freight trucks, so we're up there at the loading dock multiple times a day receiving those in. We work with a third-party freight management company called Trios. They kind of help manage the billing. They can get us cheaper rates on shipping. Do you have multiple sources we're able to use as far as looking for cost savings, competitive pricing through different vendors? We do have one main distributor, shared services out of Omaha, but we are always open and willing looking at different vendors if we can find better pricing, get it here quicker, quality products. We do have Vizient is our GPO. We work with Mid-America Service Solutions, also get cost savings on product through them. Printing. We do all the printing outside of the hospital. We've tried to move everything to the Harlan Tribune here recently. We've noticed we were able to get lot better pricing on a majority of the printing that we get, and that helps us to get back to the local businesses here in town. We also maintain med-surg, OB, and the anesthesia supply rooms. So we check those about 3 times a week depending on how busy it is. If there's a lot of patients, we'll get up there daily, make sure they always have what they need. Do a physical inventory for both the storeroom and the OR at the end of the fiscal year each year. One other program that we're working on, or that we've started doing, back in 21 we started an employee diaper program. This is an added benefit for the employees here. It's a dramatic cost savings on the diapers they can purchase compared to just getting at the store. March of this year we took that over. It used to be up in the OB, we'd haul all the diapers upstairs to the 3rd floor, set times every couple weeks. Since we've done that, we've maintained an inventory on the diapers now, so employees, when they need them, they can place the order, come pick it up same day if they want to. Since we took that over, I think it was March, we filled over 235 employee orders for diapers. So it's definitely being taken advantage of. It's a great program for the employees here at Myrtue. Just a few small pictures. This is kind of how it looks every Tuesday and Friday when we come into the storeroom. That's when our distributor shared services makes their deliveries. So we'll have 2-3 pallets down there to unload, put away, deliver. Our med-surg supply room, we check this, like I said, about 3 times a week, more if they're busy. We'll go up, just take a manual look and count at everything on there, make sure the bins are stocked fully. The OB supply room has changed a little bit. They've added some more shelves, more bins, so it's a little more product than this, but also maintain this multiple times a week, make sure they have what they use. There's some things we want to focus on going forward still, just customer service, both with our vendors we're working with and employees around the hospital. Making sure we're always looking at other sources for quality products that we can bring in. Watching our expense control, working on building some reports through our GPO that's going to help us see those items that typically or that currently may not be on contract we're not aware of. They'll send us a report monthly. That's something we can help by getting those contracts activated and making sure we're getting the best pricing on the products that we're already purchasing, and just continuous focus on improving, make sure we provide quality care and products for our employees so they can provide the best care. That's it for me.
Okay. Any questions for Brian? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The diaper program's interesting. Are there any other programs like that you're considering? There are potential benefits to the employee?
As far as the storeroom, there's nothing that's in the works currently, but if the talk's out there, we're open. We can make adjustments. We can bring more inventory in if it's something that'll benefit our employees.
Great.
One of the other things that we have available, our provider CDW allows us to individually purchase at the company's rate. So that's one thing that is a nice benefit.
Great.
Wow.
I didn't know about that.
Very nice,
so
yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, at 7:46, I'll call the regular meeting to order. First on the agenda is the minutes from October 25th.
I was just gonna say, there's a few items on here that we're gonna have to defer, so I don't know if you wanna amend the
Adjust that now?
agenda.
Okay, sure.
The property and casualty insurance, under my report, we haven't gotten our renewals back yet, so we're gonna have to defer that discussion. And then the closed session, we are not gonna go into closed session.
Okay, all right,
So those would be
everyone
the two
noted
changes.
that. All right, minutes from October 25th. You've all been able to read those. If I could get a motion on those, please.
Move the approval of the October minutes.
Thank you, Terry. Second, please. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The medical staff meeting summary. Karen, I assume that's you?
Well, look here.
You bet.
Yeah, Dr. Markham is at trauma case study this morning, so he was unable to join us. But the medical staff met on November 8th. We did have an educational presentation from Adam Porter, one of our pharmacists, on RSV in adults. So we are seeing a big increase in respiratory illnesses, viruses, etc. within the county. I mean, obviously it's national if you've been listening out there. So I did talk a lot about what can be done for our patients. Obviously these are viruses, so it's more assistive care, not necessarily a cure there. Additionally, we did talk about, we have purchased additional testing kits and additional supplies for respiratory illnesses moving forward, expecting this to be a pretty heavy season. So just like Tina said, if you haven't had your flu shot or COVID shot, go out there and get it. We're seeing a lot of everything, RSV, flu, and COVID right now. So do what you can to protect yourselves. Kim talked to the medical staff about the future emergency room schedule being put on Tiger Connect. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a few months ago we brought a proposal to the board. Tiger Connect is our new communication system on the hospital clinical side. And so what it does is we can get rid of like ASCII phones, get rid of pagers. We're going down to kind of a one system for communicating with all of our practitioners. And one of the things that can be done in that is schedule the medical staff so that, say, Dr. Markham's on ER today, it automatically signs him into the ER. So he doesn't have to worry about signing in or anything, and then any pages or any messages that go out from the ER, he will automatically get. So it's kind of an easy button for the medical staff. So She was just talking to the medical staff about moving forward with that project. Barry gave a bunch of his updates, what she's gonna do. Mary Peterson did talk, or wanted to mention to the medical staff that we are doing the EPIC upgrade on December 3rd. Shouldn't affect clinical as much as a lot of registration and scheduling side of that, so that'll be affected. Carrie Sonderman came to and talked with the medical staff. Dr. Scheffler is one of our radiologists, and he is currently doing a lot of our pain clinics out of kind of the surgery outpatient department. But he can do additional procedures, so she talked with medical staff about what some of those procedures are. Obviously we go to our staff first, but if, say, our staff can't perform those procedures, then he can do some of those for them. And then Tina Bryant from Rehab Services came to medical staff and discussed women's health services that are available. So these are both pre-baby, post-baby, and even further out. So they have these services. We've been trying to get moms connected with them if they're interested, again, pre or post having their child, to help get bodies back in shape or get in shape for delivery.
On the RSV, are there any preventative, there are no shots or preventative measures
Not
yet?
really. It's kind of, if you're sick, cold, flu, make sure you stay home.
Yeah,
Don't
sure.
spread it to others. Primarily you see that in kids
Yes.
under 1, but we
Yes.
are seeing a lot of adults. I mean, we've all had it. Normally for us, it's a common cold, but as we've been kind of protected over the last few years, wearing our masks and everything, now we're back out and we're sharing these viruses, and some people it's affecting them a little stronger.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Karen. All right, well, back to back, it looks like up for quality improvement.
All right, yeah, so Laura unfortunately couldn't join us today, but she asked if I would report. So it is in your packet, so I'm not gonna go over every one of these things. I'll just kind of go over the notes that Laura left me, but if you have questions on the other ones, please don't hesitate to ask. Diabetic education, I think we've talked about this before, but those hemoglobin A1Cs, which basically shows for our diabetic patients those blood sugars over an extended period of time. And we are consistently seeing a decline of the A1C level after education with our diabetic educators. So awesome job to them on that. Diagnostic imaging, they monitor re-imaging or rescanning of images. So obviously we like to be perfect the first time, but not always does that happen if you have somebody who moves or et cetera that we have to rescan. So we'd like to have that under 6%. We are currently at 5.8%, so we're meeting our goals there. Emergency department, we did have 1 stroke patient. The average in the state for door to the CAT scan of the head for a stroke patient is 66 minutes. Our patient was at 28 minutes, so pretty happy with our staff. They get those numbers, they get those in and take care of it really fast. And that comes everything from pre coming in, so medevac calling us, letting us know they're coming so we can get that CT scan ready, we can get them back there. So it's a well-oiled machine when we want it to be. OB are monitoring early elective deliveries, and they have had none of those. Additionally, for our breastfeeding rate, so we try to have encourage breastfeeding as much as possible, best for baby if it's possible for the moms. Not all moms choose that, but we have gone almost 100% over what we did last year. So thank you for letting us hire, administration has allowed us to hire a breastfeeding educator. She works up there now part-time. And she's really on it. She goes in the clinic, she's talking to moms, encouraging them. And obviously we support if it doesn't work too, but we're really trying to get that information and education to moms long before they even come in to deliver. So that's been an awesome improvement. Pharmacy, no adverse drug events for the past quarter, so awesome job there of all of our staff. Respiratory therapy, we do have sleep lab here. And our sleep lab is accredited in the country, and of all the accredited sleep labs in the country, we are in the 95th percentile. So awesome job. That's a small but mighty team. Did a great job getting those sleep studies performed. And last, rural health clinics, as we've heard numerous times, are measuring our ACO measures, and we're seeing significant improvements. As we know, we start over every year, so as we get to the end of the year, we're starting to see all those threads turn into green. So it just takes time to build those up. Any questions anybody has?
Questions? Thank you. All right. At this time, the Personnel Committee report. Jim's not here. Who's going to present that?
I'll present.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
No problem. As far as the Personnel Committee, we had 1 initial appointment, 10 reappointments, 6 voluntary withdrawals, and one request for additional privileges, between reappointments. And then we've got the issue down as far as the appointment of the Shelby County Medical Corps Director, Kristen Van Bale. So, and I think in the packet, you've got information on her background. So I would move for approval of the Personnel Committee report along with the appointment of Kristen Van Bale.
Yeah, I'll probably, I can talk about the
Okay.
Von Balla
Yeah, if you would.
appointment, but
That's
you want to do
separate?
the, yeah, that's probably separate.
Okay, if I could get a motion for the committee, Personnel Committee?
Okay, I'll make a motion that the Personnel Committee report be approved.
Okay, and a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion and second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Barry.
So, yeah, Kristen Von Balla has agreed to fill out the remainder of Tim Meyer's term on the SCMC board, so that will go through June 30 of 23. That's normally a 2-year term. Her bio is on page 9, so you can look at what her background is. At our last SCMC board meeting, we did thank Tim for his service for the past 10 years that he's been on that board. Appreciate his insight and direction during his time on the SCMC board, and we think that Kristen's background will be a great addition to that board. So ask that you would appoint her for the remainder of Tim Meyer's term.
Need a motion on that? Okay, if I could get a motion on Kristen Van Balla.
I'll move.
Thank you, Terry.
Kristen.
Second, please. Mike? Got a second? Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. CEO evaluation, Mr. Tornaton.
Thank you, Mrs. Larson. We, as a compensation committee, have recently, well, our work is ongoing as we look across the health system's performance each month. The committee has recently taken time to complete the CEO evaluation. So that may be something to clear up too. We are the compensation committee. It's
Yes.
Janine, myself, and Leona did the work on this. So the compensation committee gathered input by surveying you, the board members, in the last 3 weeks approximately. Organizational goals and outcomes of 2022 goals were reviewed, or they were set by the CEO. We had a chance to discuss those with Barry at a meeting. The survey and the goal discussion gave us a good opportunity to reflect on the work that has been done this past year, plus look ahead at what opportunities await the health system in 2023. We report a positive evaluation of CEO Jacobson today. He is commended for his efforts and his ongoing work to keep Myrtue Medical Center focused on quality, safety, and continuing to provide value the value that our patients expect. So with that, thank you, Leona and Janine, for the work on this, and Barry, thank you for your work in the past year and ongoing work to keep us in a good place as a health system serving our territory here in and around Shelby County. So,
Well, thank you to the board for your leadership and direction and support of what we're trying to do here. And I certainly feel pretty fortunate to have a group of really talented people that I work with on a daily basis here at the hospital, including people in this room and a lot of other people as well that really help us move things in the right direction. So thank you.
So no action needed, that's
Okay.
just a report out to
Right.
the board that the evaluation's been done at this time. And anything else will happen
All right.
in the weeks and months to come. So, thank you.
Thank you, Barry. The approval of the depository resolution amounts.
Got Barry's
Yeah.
CEO first.
Oh, well, Okay.
I'm actually just going to kind of prep you for an agenda item that's under Christie's report regarding the operating budget. So over the past few months, we've been evaluating pay scales and pay rates that will go into effect January 1, 23. We received the Iowa Hospital Association's annual salary survey in October and completed our full labor market analysis. The combination of this report and evaluation of labor market locally as well as in the Omaha Council Bluffs area is a process that we spend considerable time on each year to make sure that we have comparable compensation. Our department leaders right now are kind of wrapping up the annual employee performance review process, and we'll be done with that in mid-December, and that does play a part in the raises that we give. As you know, we continue to be in an environment of high inflation and a shortage of healthcare workers. One of our organizational goals for 2023 was a focus on staff retention, and of course, you know, that's always been important, but there's been an even higher emphasis put on that this last year, just because of the environment that we're currently in. So because of this, we have made some off-cycle adjustments, some increases in staff wages over the past 6 months. The most significant increase was a $1 an hour increase that we did for all staff back in July. Now we did budget, when we did our budget and it got approved back in June, we did budget for a 6.2% increase to go into effect January 1. We would like to go ahead and award those increases on January 1 as budgeted. However, due to the off-cycle increases we've made during the first 6 months of the fiscal year, as well as some other non-salary costs that are exceeding budget, the pay increase we intend to make January 1 will push us over our budgeted expenses for this current year. We do anticipate that our revenue will exceed budget as well and will more than offset the increased expenses that would come from this increase, pay increase. So what we want to do January 1 would be for individuals with a performance appraisal that scored over 4, our scale is 1 to 5, with 5 being the best. So individuals that score over 4, we give a 6.5% increase. Scores between 3 and 3.9 would be a 6% increase, and the scores below a 3 would be a 4.5% increase. And we think these pay increases will put us in a better position for staff recruitment, retention, and just overall operational sustainability. This has been discussed in detail with our finance committee yesterday. And if they want to say anything they can, I think I got pretty good support from that group to move forward with this. And so this is leading up to the agenda item on Christie's report, which is to amend the operating budget to increase our expenses. So it might make sense to just, if you want to go a little bit out of order, to just jump into that. So I'll turn it over to Christie.
Okay, so here it just represents that we had budgeted for almost a $54 million net revenue after contractuals and almost a 54,000, pretty much a break even what we budgeted approved in May or June. So 1.6 million in other operating, and then 1.6 million in net and from all sources that we would have. We haven't really seen revenues would remain about the same there from operations. With this increase in the other budget, the items that have been coming in over budget, we would be at 54.4 million, which is a $550,000 increase in our budgeted expenditures. That would take us to an operating loss of $535,000, but we are seeing a turnaround in our investments. October really represented that. We have most of our funds that we can, that with meeting our operating needs, invested in higher rate CDs and treasury bills and bonds. And we have some grant revenue that we'll be able to expend this year that we will go ahead and recognize as income this year. So that will bring our other non-operating revenues up and actually result in a higher net bottom line than what we had budgeted originally. Any questions on that?
So excuse me, so while our income will more than compensate estimated for this, we still need to do an amended budget because of the operating expenses.
Correct. We
Okay.
usually budget for revenues, and generally, you don't really amend a budget for revenues. I mean, that just happens, but expenditures wise, we
Okay.
just gotta have the authority to be able to go ahead and spend the
Okay,
funds.
just to be clear for everyone, so.
And this is our internal operating budget, so it's just really approved by the board. Our tax budget is something separate, and if we would ever have to do that, we would amend that, which we try and absolutely make sure every year it's really stated over and above what we would ever think we would spend. We would have to go back and have a public hearing and do all that
Sure.
by the end of May.
Okay. Any questions for Christy or Barry at this point? If I could get a motion on the approval of the amended operating budget, please.
Move.
Thank you, Kelly. Second,
We'll second that.
Terry. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Barry, do you have any other comments you'd like to make?
Just a few things from the medical staff meeting. Still working on psychiatry coverage. Dr. Dean has agreed to stay a little bit longer to kind of provide oversight of our mid-levels in the behavioral health department. But again, he would like to retire. We will continue to look for that coverage. I have mentioned that Dr. Espeland is going to be leaving in February, so we've got a couple different groups in Omaha that we're working with to replace Dr. Espeland,
And that is?
including the group that he's currently with,
And that is,
ENT.
thank you.
And that's a big clinic. They come out monthly, very, very busy clinic, so we certainly like to not have a gap in coverage if
Yes.
we can accomplish that. Really the only other thing is we did meet with some Nebraska medicine representatives, Nicole Olinger and myself, and talked about some other specialties that we would like to recruit, and like to increase some of our coverage and outreach, and had some good discussion there, and hopefully that will help us down the road. So that's really all that I have.
Okay. Any questions for Barry at this time? Okay, now let's do the depository resolution amounts. Christie.
So we had asked for an amendment earlier to include LPL, Huff and Zacconi, which LPL is their investment company they work with, at $3 million. They've been able to get us some pretty good rates on everything, and so we have reached that $3 million mark. So I recommend that we increase that to the $6 million, which is similar to all of our other financial institutions that we use for investment purposes, CDs, those type of things. So that's the one change that's in there, is to bring Huff and Zacconi up to the same $6 million investment limit that we have at the other entities.
All the other stays the same. Okay. Get a motion on that, please. Kelly, excuse me, made a motion. I need a second. Thank you, Tom. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Monthly financials.
So the financial reports for October, October was a busy month. We had quite a bit of revenue and visits that month. So in October of 2022, we had 4,873 visits in our outpatient service areas, compared to 4,400 last year. We're up 5.6% this year-to-date for the first 4 months. Emergency room visits are running a little bit lower than they were last year, 452 compared to 503. That is year-to-date about a 4% decrease. Surgical procedures, just with transition and, surgery was one thing that was impacted the most with COVID, having to shut down and those type of things. We had 125 surgical procedures compared to 101 last year. Year-to-date, we are down 5% from where we were after the 4 months last year. Physician clinic visits, we had 3,603, which is down a little bit from last October. We were down 9.7% this year. Behavioral health visits, we were at 1,556 compared to 1,187, which is year-to-date, we're at 18.7% higher. So we could really continue to see the visits at the behavioral health clinic continue to rise. Our average daily census in October was 8.11 patients per day, 9.78 last year, 8.88 year-to-date, and 9.84 last year. So we are down 9.8% in our inpatient and swing bed and observation patients. Births continue to have an increase there. We had 10 this month, 32.1% more than we had the same 4 months of this year than last year. So we're up about 9 babies so far. 4.4 million in expenditure or revenues and 4.3 million in expenditures for the month. So we are at $160,000 net gain, $222,000 for non-operating. So we are at $382,000 this month for October, compared to a loss of $58,000 last year for the October. Year-to-date, we are still down a little bit from last year, but again, like I said, October really kind of showed a turnaround in our markets. Hopefully that will continue. And definitely it will with our CD rates going from less than 1% to, on average, we're about 3.6% right now in CD rates. So we are at $336,000 for year-to-date, net all sources compared to $510,000 last year. First few months of the year are usually our, the summer months and into the fall are usually kind of our slower time anyhow, so. Any questions on those financial reports?
Questions for Christie?
And then again, just gave you the 4-year comparison here to see the trend that we had seen with the COVID. So as you can see, almost everything except for surgical procedures has continued to rise since 2020 and are back or exceeding where we were. Physician clinic visits are down just a little bit. I don't know if we did have several physicians off in October though too, so taking some vacations and stuff. Behavioral health clinic visits, like I said, continue. It's the inpatient is just one thing that we know the trend is downward on that. Births, as you can see, we've continued to increase. Revenues continue to increase. We went from 14.8 million back in October, year-to-date for October 2019 to almost 17 million this month. Same, basically, we had a little bit less expenditures, 14.5 million in 2019 to 17 million this year. And as you can see there, our other non-operating has gone down, but again, the markets will increase there the remainder of this year. Our financial reports still, our balance sheet looks strong. Our AR is lower than what it's been, so we've been seeing an increase in collections and turnaround in payments. Cash is down from what it was, but it's because we've moved it into investments in the CDs, so our liabilities continue to be about the same. The one that is decreasing is those advance payments that we receive from Medicare that they withhold from our payments every month, and then the remainder will be paid off in February.
Any questions? can get a motion for the approval of the monthly financials, please, as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Kelly. Second?
I'll second the approval.
Terry, a motion and a second on the financials. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I just want to say again, Christie, thank you for the 4-year comparison to be able to
Yes.
look at that
That is,
trend and feel better about where we've been and where we are. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
I know it's an extra step, so. much
I think we'll
appreciated.
continue it because I mean, even though once we get past COVID and all that even showing up in here, I think it's just a good trend line to see.
thank you. All right, payroll and claims were in your packet. Has everyone had a chance to review those? If so, I'd entertain request for the motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Leona. Second? Mike, a motion and a second on the monthly payroll and claims. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Are we
I
gonna,
think Jeff would love to talk about the CUP project.
Sure.
And have the privilege of talking about that.
So we're getting down close to the end. We can actually see, our target is the end of December to have significant completion, which means that everything will be done by that point except for some punch list type items and so on. So this week, barring the weather today, we're actually going to try and pour concrete today, but that's more than likely not going to happen. But by the end of this week, we should have all of our concrete work done. The demolition, everything inside of the central utility plant, the existing one is done, ready for the new pads to be poured. So the last remaining few pieces of equipment can be placed. Everything's plumbed, ready to go. It's just we need to put them there, hook them up. We're also going through some commissioning and validating that the machines come up correctly and are working properly and have all the correct settings in the building control as well as local. So things are moving forward there. So by the end of, like I said, by the end of this week, we should have all the concrete work done. We should also have I don't know if you saw yesterday, we saw the beginning of the work out there, removing dirt, removing the concrete rubble. So that should be done. I don't know if they'll be out today due to the wet weather, but they were working pretty hard yesterday at it to get all of that removed. So once the slab, there's a slab that's going to go into the the outside plant. Once that's hard, we will be moving the propane tank and then setting the synthetic natural gas equipment in for our secondary source of fuel. And that's the biggest thing that has to go on outside. But we should also see some additional grading to make the area smooth out there, looking better, cleaning up a lot of the stuff that is not needed, hauling that away. There's some extra re-rod, there's a few pieces, just the cleaning all of that up. So things are moving. We're starting to see a date that when we are going to be significantly complete. Right now all the work is waiting on that concrete in order to move forward.
wow,
I think, just for perspective, so we see the mess outside, and that's progressing. Percentage of completed on the inside and systems working? What of the project is actually done?
The heating and cooling is all, we're 100% on that and have been for quite a while. I believe in April we were on the cooling system. The heat has been since June, roughly. So all of the upgrades there have been completed. What's left is like water softener. We need to get those pads so we can set the water softeners in place. All of the plumbing throughout the whole building has been upgraded where it needs to be. The new steam generators are up and running. They supply steam to the sterilizers and the ORs. We have some humidifiers that are all up and running so that the air coming in is at the right humidity and whatnot. So overall, we are probably 85 to 90% complete with the entire project.
Cool.
question. Good
Thank you.
question, yeah,
Just
thank you.
for perspective, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, the majority of that work, nobody ever gets to see, because it's down in the tunnels, it's above the ceilings, it's in the central utility plant, and what they do see is what has been taking the longest.
That high percentage though of what you said is done is making this place better because
Yeah.
it's working, and
Yep.
that's what it was supposed to do, so.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Barry, have we decided if there will be a December meeting yet?
I think we're gonna need to have one,
Okay, well,
so I think
we have two members, so I didn't know if we should make some kind of formal thank you or not, so we'll wait till December.
okay, yeah.
Okay, all right,
So don't miss it, you two.
yeah,
Monitors, so I don't know.
see a band and everything.
They will be.
Yeah.
I think the date would be the 27th, right? Isn't that
That's
Tuesday?
the typical,
That's the typical Tuesday date, so,
and
yeah.
sometimes we move it up before Christmas.
Okay. All right, at this point in time, I need a motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
Second.
A motion and a second.
That's all right.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.